divide using synthetic division. So when we divide using synthetic division, we have these 5 steps to follow. So step number 1, we're going to write our coefficients. When we write our coefficients, they go along the top box. So all those top boxes are going to become our coefficients of this right here. So keep in mind, if there's no coefficient written, it's assumed to be 1. So the coefficients, these 4 numbers, are going across the top. So I'm going to have 1 in the first box, 5 in the second box, -3, and then -4. Those are just these 4 numbers that are written right here. Keep in mind that I'm taking the negatives with them. So that's step 1. Step number 2, we want to solve what we're dividing by, set equal to 0. So if I tell you to take x plus 6, set it equal to 0, what would x have to equal? -6. So x equals -6. That's going to be like our magical number. We're going to put it out here. We're going to create its own little ledge to sit on. That's step 2. Step 3, we're going to drop down the first coefficient. So we're skipping that box that has the arrow in it, and we're bringing that 1 straight down. So far, so good? Now we're going to go across the cycle. Our cycle is going to be, we're going to multiply, and then we're going to add. We're going to multiply whatever number's in this box by whatever magic number's up here. So I'm going to multiply those 2 numbers together. So -6 times 1 is -6. That number goes right here. Then we're going to add. We always add straight down, right? So we're going to add these 2 numbers together. So 5 plus -6 gives us -1. That goes in the box right underneath. Then our cycle starts over. We now have a new number in the bottom. We're going to multiply this number times this number, and it's going to go in this box. See if you can do it. So multiply those 2 together, put it in the box. So those multiply together to give me 6. And then what do? I multiplied, now I get to add. So -3 plus 6 gives me +3. Then I'm repeating my cycle, so I just added. Now I want to multiply -6, my magic number, times the number I just got at the bottom, which gives me -18. One last step to fill in all my boxes. I have -4 plus -18, which is -22. This number will always be your remainder. So whatever number happens to be in the last box, that's going to be your remainder. The hard work's done. Now we get to use our answer using the bottom row. So looking at the bottom row, those numbers, except for the last one, which is your remainder, are going to be your new coefficients. When you write your answer, you're always going to start with an exponent or an x that's 1 less than the original. So I'm going to take and subtract 1, which means when I write my first number, I'm going to use x squared. So this 1 gives me 1x squared. For this one, I'm going to have -1. What do you think comes with it? X, if it shows up. Bring down the next term. Positive, because it's a +3, so just +3, no more x's, because they always go down by 1. And then I write my remainder just like we have been, so -22. The 22 never got divided by the x plus 6. And that right there is my final answer. I could solve this using long division and get the exact same answer. So students tend to draw it to synthetic division, which is multiplication division. It's all organized in boxes. One thing I will point out, you won't be given your boxes on your next test, but you just count how many terms you have. So if I have 4 terms, I need 4 boxes, and it's always 3 boxes up and down. Questions on this one? You good? Okay. want you to try this one. So see if you can repeat those 5 steps. This one's a smaller grid because you only have 3 terms that you're dividing. So those 3 coefficients go across the top. Make sure you make a ledge for your magic number to stand on. If you're not sure if you set it up correctly, my original setup is on the screen. And then remember your process, multiply, add, all the way across the table. This time you'll have got to do the cycle twice. So again, my coefficients went across the top. That magic 7 came from me setting this equal to 0. X minus 7 equals 0. Add 7 to both sides. X equals 7. So that magic number is going to be 7. Bring your first coefficient down. You never ever write anything in this box. You always I just make my arrow there, bring the 3 down. So then I'm going to multiply 7 times 3 is 21. Then I'm going to add negative 21 plus 21 is negative 8. That completes my first cycle. Going to repeat, 7 times negative 8 is negative 56. When I add this time, I get 0. So this time I have no remainder. So when I go to write my answer, again, I always start 1 exponent less than the original. So if my original was x squared, my answer is just going to be x. So 3x minus 8 with no remainder means 3x minus 8 is my answer. There's no reason to write a fraction with a remainder of 0 on top. Questions or concerns on this one? The last one is the tricky one because I've given you a hint. If you're missing powers, which means in this case you're going from x to the 4th and then your next term's x squared, you have an x to the 3rd missing in there. Anytime this happens, you've got to put a 0 in there. So sometimes I have students who like to rewrite the whole problem and put that 0 in there. That's fine. If you just like to fill it in when you write it, that's fine too. I'm going to just write it in there real fast. Oops. And then we're still. So this helps me see that if I had to draw my boxes, I would need 5 terms across the top. Those 5 terms have to go in order. So 1, 0, negative 45, negative 18, and negative 72. I will warn you, there is a question on your next test that has a missing power, and you've got to plug in the 0 or you'll get the wrong answer. Then my magic number that sits out here by itself, x minus 7 equals 0, which means x equals positive 7. Bring that first term down, and now you're going to multiply, add, multiply, add. So I'm going to multiply 7 times 1 is 7. Then I'm going to add 0 plus 7, excuse me, is 7. Then I'm going to multiply 7 times 7, 49. Add negative 45 plus 49 is 4. There's cycle number 2. Going again, 7 times 4 is 28. Negative 18 plus 28 is positive 10. One last time, 10 times 7 is 70. Negative 72 plus 70 is 2. That's going to be your remainder. Take a minute and see if you can write your final answer. We've got all the coefficients. Yes, ma'am. See if you can write your final answer. Remember, you're starting 1 degree less than the original. So instead of x to the 4th, you're going to start with x to the 3rd. When you finish your problem, check yours with mine on the screen. Anybody have any questions? On the next page, you will see your assignment. You have 4 problems. Keep in mind, the last 2, you're going to have zeros that you need to fill in.